Arboretum looks like a very simple, polite card game about trees, right? It's you and 3 other people are trying to just have the most luxurious tree groves that you can. It seems like a very pleasant game. It seems like a game that you just play with your grandma, right? But in fact, Arboretum is one of the most aggro games that I have played in a long time and ends up being one of my favorite games so far this year.
Everyone begins with 7 cards. These cards represent the 8 different trees you can plant in the Arboretum, and are numbered from 1 to 8. On your turn, draw 2 cards either from the draw deck or the top of anyone's discard pile. Play 1 card into your Arboretum adjacent to another tree, then discard a card. When the draw deck runs out, the game ends and it's time to score. Here's where the real magic happens. Tree magic, whatever the that is. Start going down the list of trees. Let's use magnolias as an example. Everyone reveals the magnolia cards in their hand. Count the total points. If someone has a 1 and someone has an 8, the 8 is turned into a 0. Tree magic, am I right? The highest score total is the only person who gets to earn points for their magnolia path. A path must start and end with a magnolia, and each step along the path must increase in number. You get a point for each card along the path. An extra point if it starts with a 1, like this oak path. 2 extra points if it ends with an 8. And 2 points per card if the path is at least 4 cards and all are magnolias. Let's say though that I had the highest magnolia numbers in my hand, but no valid path. Well, then no one gets any points. So the end game of Arboretum is to not just earn points, but to screw over the other people whenever possible, preventing them from being able to score their best paths. Because trees are also evil.
My expectations with Arboretum when I got it was that this is going to be a fun, light, quick playing card game that has some neat scoring strategy to it. And that's definitely true. It does have a lot of that element to it, but what pleasantly surprised me and what has made me continue to want to play Arboretum and really highly recommend this game is that it is just so kind of very quietly aggressive game. For one thing, this is a card counting game. This is a game where you have to be aware of what's in the discard pile, how deep that card is in the discard pile, who might have what in their hands, what everybody else is trying to play in their groves versus what you're trying to do in your Arboretum. So a good example would be, let's say that I'm trying to build out oak. Now I've placed down the number 1 oak on my path and a couple of other numbers. I have the 8 in my hand and I saw somebody discard the 7 oak earlier. So now I'm starting to think, okay, the only 2 available cards left are a 6 and a 2, which would also equal 8 if somebody played that against my 8 for scoring. Well, good thing is that ties mean that both people get a score. So as long as I hold this 8 oak in my hand, I'm gonna get a chance to score my path. That's huge. Knowing for sure I'm gonna score my path is one of the biggest things out there. But you're also worrying about, okay, what can I do to stop this person from scoring their biggest path or this person from scoring a big number? And you know, you have 7 cards in your hands at all time, but honestly, towards the end of the game, so many of your cards are cards that you're trying to either make sure are scoring points for you, so you score pass, or to screw over other people. That starts getting really tricky to play cards at the end of the game because you're thinking, well, discarding this might help this person, and then I want to kind of hold on to this to help scoring or to stop this person. You start having to make some really tough sacrifices. It's a really fascinating, really interesting game. So that is Arboretum, a game that you should not judge at all by its cover because it is a really cool card game. It's not a card game that you would play with your mom. It is actually a card game you want to play with your buddies while you're having a couple of drinks. And I promise you, if they're with the right attitude, like the way my friends are, it gets pretty nasty. And we have a really good time with it. I have to say, this is probably one of my top 3 or 4 favorite games that has come out so far this year. And best of all, it's not very expensive. So that is Arboretum, a game you probably overlooked, but I gotta say, this game is definitely worth looking into. And I would say I would just go out there and say, everybody should pick this up. It is a really good, exciting, enjoyable, fun, backstabby kind of game.